to check 3 important details before a small issue becomes a costly surprise. Because the biggest problems with retirement money, healthcare coverage, and monthly payments rarely begin with a dramatic warning. They begin quietly. A payment that arrives a little lower than expected, a letter that looks like routine paperwork, a Medicare notice with one line most people never read, or a deadline that feels far away until the chance to act has already passed. And here is the turning point. Most seniors do not get caught off guard because they ignored a huge emergency. They get caught off guard because they did not know which 3 things needed attention first. In this video, I will walk you through 3 July 27th changes and checks that could matter for your Social Security payment, Medicare costs, or retirement budget. The first one involves a detail that may affect what actually reaches your bank account. The second involves a healthcare notice or coverage issue that could cost more if you wait too long to review it. But do not skip ahead, because the third change is the one many retirees discover only after they have already made a financial decision. And by then, fixing it can be much harder. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what to check, which notices to open, what questions to ask, and where to verify the facts through official sources. No rumors, no confusing language, no panic, just clear steps to help you protect the money and benefits you depend on. This video is for general education. Your situation may depend on your income, age, state, Medicare plan, and benefit type. So always confirm important details with the Social Security Administration, Medicare, or a qualified professional. Now let's start with the first change, the payment detail every senior should check before the next deposit arrives. Change number 1, the payment detail that can quietly change what reaches your bank. The first change is not always announced with a big warning. For many seniors, it begins with a moment that lasts only a few seconds. You open your banking app. You look at your Social Security deposit, and something feels different. Maybe the amount is lower. Maybe it is higher. Maybe it arrived on a different day than expected. Or maybe the payment is there, but a deduction appears that you do not recognize. At first, you may think it is nothing, a few dollars, a small change, something you will look at later. But that is exactly where problems begin. Because when you depend on Social Security, a small change is never just a small change. It can affect your grocery budget, your prescription refill, your utility payment, your rent, or the emergency money you were trying to save. Here is the turning point. Most seniors do not lose control of their monthly budget because of one giant mistake. They lose control because they see a change and do not ask why until several payments have already passed. So before the next deposit arrives, there are 3 numbers you need to know. Number 1, your gross Social Security benefit. This is the amount you are entitled to before certain deductions are taken out. Number 2, your net payment. This is the amount that actually reaches your bank account. And number 3, every deduction between those 2 numbers. If you do not know these 3 numbers, you are not alone. Millions of people only look at the final deposit. They see the money arrive. They pay bills. And they move on. But your final deposit may be lower for several different reasons. Medicare premiums, prescription drug premiums, federal tax withholding, an income-related Medicare charge, an overpayment recovery, or another authorized deduction connected to your personal situation. Now, this does not mean every deduction is wrong. Many deductions are normal. Many are required. But normal does not mean you should ignore it. You should understand it. Because the moment you understand where your money is going, you can spot when something changes. And that is where the July 27th check becomes important. Take out your most recent bank statement or open your banking app. Find the Social Security deposit. Write down the exact amount, not an estimate, the exact amount. Then compare it with your Social Security benefit information. If the numbers are different, look for the reason. Do not guess. Do not rely on what someone told you years ago. And do not assume that a deduction will stay the same forever. Medicare premiums can change. Tax withholding can change if you update it. Income-related charges can change based on tax information. And an overpayment recovery can begin after a notice arrives. Here's an example. Imagine a retiree named Linda. For years, Linda receives the same deposit every month. She knows roughly what it should be. Then one month, her payment is lower. Not dramatically lower. Just enough to make her feel uncomfortable. She assumes it is probably a bank issue. She waits. The next month, the payment is still lower. Then she finally opens a letter that arrived weeks earlier. It explains that a Medicare-related amount has changed. The notice includes information about why the amount changed and what she can do if she believes the decision is based on outdated income information. But because Linda waited, she now feels rushed. She has questions. She needs documents. And she is worried that she missed an important deadline. The problem was not that Linda did anything wrong. The problem was that she did not see the full picture early enough. That is why your first action step is simple. Create a payment record. Use a notebook. Use a folder. Use a simple sheet of paper. Each month, write down the date your Social Security payment arrived, the amount that reached your bank, any deduction you notice, and whether you received a letter or notice that month. This takes less than 2 minutes, but it can help you notice a pattern before it becomes a problem. Now there is one payment change that surprises many retirees because it may be connected to income from the past. It is often connected to Medicare, and it can make a regular premium much higher. This is where people become confused. They say, "But I am retired now. My income is lower." That may be true, but certain Medicare charges can use tax information from an earlier year. Maybe you were still working then. Maybe you sold an investment. Maybe you took a large withdrawal from a retirement account. Maybe you received a one-time payment. Maybe you sold property. That higher income may still appear on the tax return used for the calculation, and then later, the higher Medicare amount shows up as a deduction from your Social Security payment. This does not mean you should panic. It means you should ask a clear question. If your income has dropped because of retirement, reduced work, divorce, death of a spouse, loss of income, producing property, or another major life change, contact Social Security and ask whether there is a review process available. You can say, "My Medicare premium appears to be based on older income information. My income has changed. Can you explain whether I may request a review?" That question can open the right conversation. You may need proof. You may need tax documents. You may need a retirement letter or other records. But the first step is knowing that you should ask. And now, here's the part many seniors miss. Not every payment problem comes from a deduction. Sometimes the amount is correct, but the payment does not arrive where it should. A bank account may have been closed. A direct deposit detail may be outdated. A bank merger may have changed account information. Or someone may have tried to change your information without permission. That is why you should also check the account receiving your payment. Make sure it is active. Make sure the last 4 digits match the account you used today. Make sure you still have access to it. If you recently changed banks, do not assume the change happened automatically. Your new bank account does not automatically tell Social Security where to send your payment. You may need to update the information through official channels. And never update direct deposit information because of an unexpected phone call, text message, or email. Scammers often use fear. They may say your payment is frozen. They may say your benefits are suspended. They may say you must verify your bank information immediately. Then they ask for your password, your bank login, your Social Security number, or a one-time security code. Do not give them anything. A real agency will not pressure you to share sensitive information through an unexpected call or message. If you receive a suspicious message, do not click the link. Do not call the number in the message. Go directly to the official Social Security website or use the number printed on an official notice. Now keep this in mind. The first July 27th change is not about assuming every payment difference is a crisis. It is about refusing to let an unexplained change become normal. Check the amount. Check the deductions. Check the bank account. Check the notices. And ask questions early. Because the second change is connected to something that many seniors receive in the mail, place on the kitchen table, and forget about until it affects their healthcare costs in a way they did not expect. Change number 2, the Medicare notice that can cost you more if you ignore it. The second change does not always show up in your bank account first. Sometimes it arrives in an envelope, a white envelope, a few pages of official-looking language, a notice that feels too complicated to read. So it gets placed on the kitchen table, then on a counter, then under other mail, and weeks later, it is forgotten. But that letter may contain information that affects what you pay for health care, prescriptions, or Medicare coverage. That is why the second July 27th check is simple. Open every notice, read every page, and never assume a letter is unimportant just because it looks routine. Here is the turning point. Many seniors do not face surprise healthcare costs because they chose the wrong plan on purpose. They face surprise costs because a change was explained in a notice they never had time to understand. Maybe the letter says your premium is changing. Maybe it says a prescription drug is moving to a different coverage level. Maybe it says your pharmacy is no longer preferred. Maybe it explains a deductible. Maybe it asks you to provide information. Maybe it gives you a deadline to appeal a decision. And if you do not read it, you may not know anything changed until you are standing at the pharmacy counter. Imagine this. You have taken the same medication for years. You pick it up every month. You know what it usually costs. Then one day the pharmacist tells you the price is much higher. You are confused. You are frustrated. You think there must be a mistake. But the change may have been explained in a plan notice weeks earlier. Maybe the medication moved to a different tier. Maybe the plan changed its formulary. Maybe you reached a different stage of your drug coverage. Maybe the pharmacy you use is no longer in the preferred network. The point is not that this will happen to everyone. The point is that you should know before you need the medication. This week, make a small Medicare folder. Put every Medicare notice inside it. Put letters from your Medicare Advantage plan, Part D drug plan, Medigap company, doctors, pharmacies, and Social Security in the same place. Do not leave them in different rooms. Do not throw them away after one quick look. Keep them together. Then take one notice at a time and look for these words: important, action required, premium, coverage change, prescription drug, appeal, deadline, evidence of coverage, annual notice of change, late enrollment penalty. You do not need to understand every word immediately. You only need to know when something needs attention. If a notice is confusing, call the official number printed on your plan card or on the letter. You can say, "I received this notice and I want to understand whether it changes my cost, coverage, prescription benefits, or anything I need to do." That is enough. You do not need to argue. You do not need to guess. You do not need to let embarrassment stop you from asking. These notices are written for millions of people. Many people find them confusing. Asking questions is normal. Now there is another detail that can quietly raise costs for some seniors: a Medicare premium based on income. Sometimes a person is surprised because they are retired now, living on a fixed income, and still sees a higher Medicare amount. They ask, "Why am I being charged more when I am not earning what I used to earn?" The answer may be that Medicare uses tax information from an earlier year for certain income-related adjustments. That earlier year may have included a large retirement withdrawal, a property sale, investment income, a final year of full-time work, a bonus, or a one-time financial event. And later, the higher income can affect what you pay. But here is what matters. If your income has changed because of a qualifying life event, there may be a process to ask Social Security to review more recent information. For example, retirement, reduced work, divorce, death of a spouse, loss of income-producing property, or another major change in your financial situation. Do not assume the charge will automatically correct itself. Ask. Call Social Security through official contact information. Explain that your income has changed. Ask whether there is a review process and what documents may be needed. Keep copies of your tax records, retirement letters, pay stubs, or other documents that show what changed. Now, there is one mistake that can make a Medicare problem much worse: waiting until the deadline has passed. Some notices include a date by which you must respond. That date may relate to an appeal, a coverage decision, a billing issue, a request for documents, or a plan-related question. If you are unsure, circle the date, write it on a calendar, and call before the deadline. Do not wait until the final day. Phones can be busy. You may need documents. You may need to speak with more than one office. Give yourself time. And if you help a parent, spouse, or older relative with paperwork, ask whether they have received any notices they do not understand. This is only part 1 of my video. In part 2, I will explain more important information about Medicare notices, retirement money decisions, taxes, and the steps you should take before a small issue becomes a costly surprise. To watch part 2, click the video appearing on your screen now. Do not miss it, because the next part contains important details that every senior should know.